I just wanted to move into I wanted to talk a little bit about alienation, because just given what's going on with quarantine, and yes, we're all isolated in that way, but then we add the layer of work, and then we add the layer of like fear, I guess, around, or I've described myself, I have a bit of fear, um, around racism and police brutality, and then suddenly we're on this island, all because we have all these intersectionalities that are going on. So for those who don't know what alienation is, it can be described as a condition of workers in a capitalist economy, resulting from the lack of identity with the products and the labor, or the sense of being controlled or exploited. So that's like a Marxist theory of alienation, just talking about how we're disconnected from our work and alienated from our worthiness and our connection to how we're producing, or how our labor is put out. Um, so it's a loaded question, but how has all of these layers contributed to alienation in your life?
Yeah, when COVID was, I think, at the forefront of everyone's minds, I'm thinking of when suddenly everyone like jumped into high gear of productivity. Folks were like, like working out, creating stuff, holding down their work from home jobs, getting like side contracts and stuff like that. And I was like, I am struggling to respond to like this single email. Um, I was just not productive at all. I was like, I didn't, suddenly my perspective had kind of shifted from being like that like good and reliable worker to like something totally different. I just like didn't care anymore. I was finding it like harder and harder to connect to the purpose of like my job, like my conventional job, and trying. It was kind of an alienating experience because other people were just doing it, and I just couldn't. And then I think as time um, actually as time extended, I actually like fell into a better comfort with it. So I was able to start to kind of like see that um, other people were feeling the same way, and other people were trying to create other kind of realities, and that's what called to me more than just like the serving capitalism, was like this idea of rebuilding the world now. And I think that really struck home for me. Cece, you'd mentioned that NLC had kind of been at the forefront of that, of creating these like online spaces for people to come together in a different way, like it was so different, and have these like almost bizarre conversations with each other, which like yeah, made me feel productive in a different way, in a way that wasn't like worshiping outcomes and strategies and design principles and all of those things. Um, but I think I already spoke on alienation in the other sense, and the like having those discussions about police brutality, and indigenous communities being over policed, so alienating. But that can be another like 12-hour conversation.
A whole segment, yeah.
I'm the only indigenous person who works at my office, and well, up until actually a couple days ago, there's actually a Métis woman who works in my office as well, but she actually is decided to go do something else, which is really great. She's awesome, but I mean, I live only 2 hours away from Ganawage, and so I was going there before the pandemic quite often because I was working on a project, and I was also kind of looking at photos with my family, and we were kind of going through the old family home and stuff like that, because like some of the elders in my family are now like getting to that age where they're starting to pass away, and they're in homes. We're trying to make sure that everything gets preserved. So I was spending a lot of time there and really connecting with my cousins, and kind of like having that support throughout the weeks and without the months. And then my community decided to close down to keep everybody safe, which they needed to do. Montreal were coming in often, and it was dangerous. So they had to close. And so I haven't gone there at all since that time. And I also haven't seen my mom's family in the GTA. So it's been difficult. But I feel alienated sometimes because you work non-Indigenous people and stuff like that. And sometimes you feel a bit removed from what you care about, and you care about different things sometimes than other people do. So it's just weird, lonely.
I've faced alienation here, like in the community. So I'm a 60 scoop survivor, and I've never like really been to like the reserve that I was registered to. So when I got married to my husband, my ex-husband now, we band transferred so that we're all from Batchewana First Nation. So I've actually faced discrimination, and I've heard some things like, she's not even a member, she's a band transfer. So like I've had that type of rhetoric thrown at me, to the point where it's like, if I want to have some voices of what's happening within the community, like in a political sense, it's like, well, she's not even like really a member. Like, where do you have a right to say anything? But yeah, so I've had that within the community, like on myself. That's kind of hard for me.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you're experiencing that. Especially you have such a strong, powerful voice, and I'm so grateful for the work that you do for our community.
Yeah, and it's been I let it roll off now, like water off a duck's back. But like, and as for alienation, just like in the working sense since COVID, like my mental health has just taken like a complete hit, where like I'm now like, and I'll be completely transparent because I think people need to like break the silence on mental health. Like I'm like in Ativan, and I'm taking antidepressants now, and I'm taking sleeping pills because like my whole life just completely changed, where you're working 9 to 5 and you wear different hats in the community and you're being productive and you're so full of, you know, you're just so used to labeling yourself as, okay, I'm in a mental health and addiction counselor, I work for Nordic, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. But then what are we outside of that?
Mm-hmm.
When that's taken away, what are we? And I've had to struggle with that to kind of figure out who I am. Like, what kind of mom am I now? Like full time? Like, can I sit at the table and do math homework and not get angry because they changed everything for math? And, you know, like, am I able to keep a clean house? And it's just like my mental health and my anxiety has been like completely heightened. And I'm really just trying to refigure out like who I am outside of work and outside of the tables that I sit on. And what makes me me, and doing like a lot of self-exploration. So it's been harder too, because like, again, like I said, I'm immune compromised. Like I have lupus. So like I sometimes have to have someone go grocery shopping for me, or, you know, I'm sitting waiting at home for someone to come and drop off a document for me to sign. So it's just been really, really difficult. And I've like had cabin fever, and it's been a struggle for me. It's been a struggle. Definitely.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm doing self-care workshops, and I'm doing workout videos, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But like, really, I'm just like, I'm sad too, and I can't see my grandma, and I usually work to go drive to Southern Ontario to see her. She's in her 80s. I can't do that right now. She lives in a home. She's, you know, isolated. And then I have a responsibility to social isolate myself because I work with young people and people that could be immune compromised. So I can't just go everywhere that I want to. And, you know, I'm sad and I'm grieving. I lost 2 really important people to me this month, and we're not able to come together to, you know, celebrate their lives. And we're doing online life celebrations, and you know, and then I have this fear of grief of losing people around me and losing that time and that space with them, just people in my regular life, right? So there's a lot of grief and anxiety around time and the ability to